Hello everyone and welcome to the Time for Tea Designs YouTube channel. Today you're with Elaine from Pink Peppermint Cards and I'm going to be sharing a Christmas themed card using products from the new July release. So let's jump into the card. I'm first of all taking this Mew Are the Best Gift stamp set, a really cute Christmas stamp set, and I'm placing that in my mini Mesty with some Copic friendly cardstock. And I'm going to be inking this stamp up with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to be using my alcohol markers. So I'm just going to be stamping this a couple of times with my ink because it is a new stamp. I've not used this before and sometimes you need to just give it a couple of goes. If not, and you haven't got a stamp platform, just be sure to wipe your stamp before using it, because sometimes it can repel the ink when it's not been used before. So I'm going to be using my Copic markers and my R30s to start off with. I'm putting the colours I'm using onto the screen and they will also be listed over on the coordinating blog post, which will be in the description box below. So I'm just starting off here and then we'll be speeding up the video quite considerably. I'm just picking a few elements to colour in red and I'm just going to be colouring a few of those. This is a really nice size stamp set for your A6 cards. It's a really lovely size, but the stamp set does also contain some other really cute elements which you could build upon. For today's card, I just literally used this stamp set and the sentiment. But there's also a really cute little mouse and some other little gift packages you could use. And I'm just using my darkest to lightest method. So my R39 is my darkest and R32 is the lightest. And I'm not really too particular about exactly where my light source would be. I'm just trying to make sure that I do have some areas of darkness moving into lighter, just to give the illusion of some shadows and just to try and bring this stamped image to life. So a couple of more bits here to colour in with the red markers. Just finishing up this ribbon on this large package in the middle. And if this particular sized image is maybe a little bit daunting and you want to map out your colours first, I suggest maybe stamping the image onto some just plain white copy paper and just doing some rough colouring with some coloured pencils just to work out where you want to put your colour first before going in with your specialty paper and using your Copic inks. So now I'm moving on to my C3s. I'm trying to give the illusion of some white ribbon and wrapping paper. So C3 is my darkest colour and I'm just blending out with my C1 and C00. I thought this was a really nice colour combination for today's card. And then I did want to bring in some gold. I don't have probably the best gold markers, but the ones I do have are YR24 and Y26. And they worked quite well for this card, so I'll just be coming in with them. My R24 is the darker colour, coming in with the Y26. Just adding those onto the ribbon and a few of the bows. And then I can move on to colouring my kitty, so I'm using my E40s for this. Just putting some darker shading where his face meets the hat and then blending that out with our E42 and E41, E79 for the nose, and then a little bit of pink for the cheeks. So I started with my R30 but didn't really give much contrast, so then I just popped a little bit of R32 on top and I was happy with that. So set that aside, I can move on to my card base. I'm using the Slimline Scallops cover plate and I've cut that largest rectangle scallop from some heavyweight white cardstock. I'm coming in with my Distress Oxide ink here in Worn Lipstick, and I'm also using my Time for Tea Designs blending brush. So I've just put a light layer of that Worn Lipstick all around the edge, and then I'm coming in with my Distress ink in Festive Berries to darken those scallops up, to try and get a colour that matched my red on my stamped image a little more closely. So now I'm just focusing much more of that colour just on the scallops. I'm not bringing that deep colour in too far. And these blending brushes make everything so easy. They really are a wonderful addition to my craft room accessories. Just to darken up those edges a little more, I'm using the Hero Art Ombre ink pad, and this particular one is light ruby to royal red. And again, just focusing that colour onto the very edge of the scallops. I did manage to get some ink splotched onto my card panel, so now I'm just using the palm of my hand to try and prevent any more ink splotches. So I'm thinking that at this point my stamped image will probably cover that error. So just finishing up with these scallops here. And just setting that aside for a moment to dry off a little while I die cut my stamped image with the coordinating dies. Just securing that down with some tape, and I'll be running that through my die cut machine. And luckily for me, I was able to cover that mistake with my stamped image. And on the screen, you're probably difficult to see, but here you'll see me taping down a piece of silver thread. I just cut a length of that and secured it to the back of my image with some washi tape, because this is going to form the ribbon garland. Popping some more liquid adhesive all over the image and just securing everything down. Once I'm happy with its placement, I'll just be pressing that down a little more firmly to make sure it's securely in place. And then I will flip this panel over and secure those tails also to the back of the card with some more washi tape. So off camera, I did stamp and die cut a number of the bows. These bows come from the Santa Paws stamp set, which was also released in July. And I used the same coloured Copic markers, so the R30s. And I'm using some glue dots here to secure these bows over the top of that ribbon to make it look like a garland. So just starting at the outer edges and then the ones closest to the cat, and then I can fill in the middles with these bows just to try and get this spacing as even as possible. So I'm happy with those. They're all nicely secured down, and I have made my own card base here to match my scalloped panel here. So it does measure slightly larger than the scalloped panel. I will put the dimensions into the description box, but also you will find them on the coordinating blog post. So pop some liquid adhesive all over the back. Make sure my card panel is the right way round, and then I can just secure that panel to the card base. Moving on to my sentiment, I've got my Mini Misty here again, and I'm going to be taking some black cardstock with the sentiment from the stamp set "You Are the Best Gift of All." I'm going to be treating my cardstock with my embossing buddy, just to make sure that my embossing powder doesn't get stuck to the areas of the cardstock where I don't want it to. I've stamped my sentiment with the Versamark ink, and I'm using my Ranger Superfine White Embossing Powder. And we'll heat set that with my heat tool until it turns nice and glossy. In the coordinating die set to the You Are the Best Gift, there is this really nice tag die with those little fishtail ends. So I use that to cut out my sentiment, And then I'm just cutting this small strip of card which will sit at the bottom of my sentiment strip just to help everything sit more flush on my card, because that top part of the sentiment is going to sit over the top of my image, and this will just help everything to sit nicely. So put some more liquid adhesive on the back, and then I just can secure that to the card. Now I can move on to some final embellishments. I'm using my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen all over the bows, on the hat, and a few of the presents on the stamped image. Then I'm just coming in with my white gel pen to add a few more details and just to break up those presents a bit. Put some dots on the cheeks for some added interest. And then I do turn the camera or my lights off and my camera flashlight on so you can see all that shimmer and sparkle, which I just think looks so adorable. And that is today's card complete. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please join us on social media. Make sure you tag us in any of your creations, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.